Welcome to News to Know. Today is Wednesday, September 15, 2021. And here's the news you need to know. We begin today in North Korea, where the communist government has launched a ballistic missile. The rocket flew for over 500 miles and landed in the Sea of Japan. North Korea is under international sanctions for its ballistic missile program. This launch comes just days after North Korea tested its latest cruise missiles over the weekend. The timing of the ballistic missile launch comes as China and South Korea are meeting to discuss ways to get North Korea to return to denuclearization talks. North Korea often conducts bomb and missile tests as a show of force in order to garner more attention from the international community. Later in the day, South Korea launched one of its own ballistic missiles from a submarine, which is a new technology for the country. However, the South Koreans were quick to point out that the launch was planned weeks ago and was not a response to the North Koreans' own launch earlier in the day. In Morocco, police have arrested 3 men with connections to the Islamic State terrorist group. The ringleader had been previously banned from attending his local mosque because of his extremist views. He was hosting the other terror cell members at his shop, where they viewed videos of suicide bombers and were planning an attack. According to police, the group were planning to assassinate a government employee. The arrests came when authorities received credible intel that the cell had selected their target and the attack was imminent. Along with the arrests, police raided their homes and found extremist literature. The last Islamic terrorist attack in Morocco was in 2018 when 2 Scandinavian women were murdered in the Atlas Mountains. In the United Kingdom, the Chinese ambassador to the UK has been banned from entering Parliament. The ambassador had been invited to speak at a meeting in Parliament, but it was decided at the last minute to not allow him entry. It was suggested that the speech could still go forward in an alternative location. The Speaker for the House of Commons said that it was inappropriate for Ambassador Zheng Zeguang to enter Parliament while the Chinese government sanctioned 5 members of the British Parliament. The Chinese government sanctioned the members over their criticism of the communist government's treatment of ethnic Uyghurs in the province of Xinjiang. The Chinese have built camps in Xinjiang and forced millions of Uyghurs to undergo re-education and indoctrination. There have also been reports of religious oppression and mass surveillance of the population. 92% of Chinese are ethnically Han, and the government in Beijing has a history of repressing minority groups in an attempt to cement Han control over outlying regions. The political crisis in the Caribbean nation of Haiti has hit a new high. On July 7 of this year, the president of Haiti, Jovenel Moïse, was assassinated in his private residence. Foreign mercenaries were discovered to have been hired to kill the president. Bedford Claude was put in as a special prosecutor to investigate who had hired the assassins. Yesterday, Mr. Claude asked a judge to indict Haiti's Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, on charges of being involved in the assassination plot. He also requested that the Prime Minister be blocked from leaving the country. However, today, Prime Minister Henry has announced that he is firing Mr. Claude from his post as special prosecutor. Legal experts in Haiti are divided as to whether the Prime Minister actually has that authority, most believing that the authority to fire Mr. Claude lies only with the Justice Minister. For his part, the Justice Minister has not made any public statements on the matter. And finally today, on the happier side of things. Chad Keller had wanted to become an astronaut since he was 6 years old. Unfortunately for Chad, his eyesight was too poor to become a fighter pilot. Because of that, Chad instead studied aerospace engineering, hoping that he could take that route to space. He became a satellite propulsion specialist and worked for the Department of Defense. On September 11, 2001, Chad was flying home to California after having meetings at the Pentagon when his plane was hijacked. He was on American Airlines 77, which struck the Pentagon. Years later, NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy read about Chad's passion for space at the 9/11 Museum in New York. Astronauts are allowed to carry a few personal items with them when they go into space. Cassidy contacted Chad's father and asked if he could bring something of Chad's into space with him at the end of 2020. And so Chad's mementos and some of his ashes were carried by Cassidy into space, finally realizing his lifelong dream. And now you know the news. Until next time, good night and God bless.